Hello everyone, welcome to Conjunctions in Astrology. I'm looking at the conjunction of Mercury and Saturn in your chart. What does this mean for your destiny, and also considering the sign and house positions. So if you're new to my channel, don't forget to sub below, and if the video is good for you, give it a thumbs up. Let's begin. First of all, what is a conjunction in astrology? You may think you have a conjunction of Mercury and Saturn, but you may not have. A conjunction in the ancient Vedic system is about planets being in the same sign together, because a sign equals a house. So, if two or more planets are in the same sign, no matter how far apart they are by degree, they are in conjunction. But if one planet is 29 degrees of one sign, let's say, and the other planet at 0 of the next sign, that's not a conjunction, even though they are only 1 degree apart in space, because they are in different signs, therefore different houses, with a completely different lord. Another point to consider is the nakshatra. If planets are in a different nakshatra but in the same sign, are they still forming conjunction? Most definitely they are, because the nakshatra just gives them an internal experience, but they're still in the same sign, they're still sharing the experience of that house, and they are still in a conjunction. If you have Mercury and Saturn then in the same sidereal sign, you definitely have a conjunction of these two planets. The closer they are by degree, the stronger is a conjunction. It's an interesting combination of planets. Early in life, it can give you some problems, but later in life, it can be a blessing. Let's look at the energies involved. And who then is Mercury? Mercury is known as Buddha in the Vedic system. He is a child of Tara, who was the wife of Jupiter, but his father was Chandra, the moon. Coming about outside of marriage in this way, Mercury used all of his charm and his wit and his beauty to get into the good books of his father Jupiter. And Jupiter gave to Mercury the most incredible knowledge. He gave him rulership, actually, over the earth element itself. Mercury therefore controls the skills which enable you to gain dominance over this material energy. Specifically, he rules communication skills, writing, thinking skills, rational mind, science, maths, commerce, business in particular, and in fact he is the ruler of money itself. Mercury likes to be traveling, to be on the move all the time. He is the youthful energy in the zodiac, and he also represents our friends. And who is Saturn? Saturn, known as Shani in the Vedic system, is the most powerful of all the grahas. He has the power to bring back to us the results of our past life karma. Primarily, these are the papa or sinful karmas. He is here to make sure that we receive the exact punishment due to us for our past deeds. So therefore, he can be much feared. But in truth, if he did not do this, we would have to go to much more fearful places. So it's good that we can work through these karmas in this lifetime. Shani therefore brings limitations, delays, obstructions, retributions of all sorts, sorrow, loss, and all fated factors. But please remember that Saturn also gives rewards. He rewards endurance, hard work, honesty, patience, and self-control. So when we show these consistently, he can give many blessings, and the blessings which Saturn gives are those which endure and are worth having. So what happens when the youthful Mercury has come together with Saturn in your chart? Well, here's the thing. As I've just said, early in life it gives more restrictions than it does later in life. Earlier on, you feel a little bit burdened by different factors in your life. Authority figures definitely bother you, even father sometimes. But always we see some of this restriction comes into the education early on in your life. There's also quite a lot of burden on you from your parents to do well in education, and yet the early education environment is somewhat restrictive of you. You don't feel relaxed. You don't learn in a very quick way. You learn slowly and methodically, no matter how intelligent you are. And this tends to give you a lack of confidence in your intellectual and academic abilities very early on. The good news is that after Saturn matures, after age 36, everything just switches around. You have great confidence in your ability. You slowly understand that you actually have something to say of importance, and that your intellectual ability is much greater than you thought. So very often, education that was not successful earlier becomes successful later in life and gives you a real career boost. You still become quite a serious person though, because Mercury Saturn means that you're serious about your ideas. You like to explore all ideas systematically. You're a very organized person, everything filed away. You don't like waste and you don't like to throw things away. You like everything to have utility. Mercury rules business, and a very well-placed Mercury and Saturn, particularly often in earth signs like Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, can give you great success in self-enterprise or business. But you take it slowly. You don't just take off overnight. You build up over a great many years to get this success, and the hard work which you put in and the savvy decisions which you make give you success. You don't take unnecessary risks though, and that's the key. But for everybody, even if you're not in business, you take your financial situation extremely serious. Mercury rules money. Saturn means that you take it seriously. You do not like to waste resources. You make money work for you. You can sometimes become overburdened by it all, worrying about your financial situation unnecessarily. But in this way, you slowly and steadily gain financial security over your lifespan. Now, Mercury rules speech, and together with Saturn, you can imagine you become a very serious speaker, but it's not always the case. What is certain is you speak about important, serious topics, and the way you speak has a lot of resonance with other people. People listen to you. Early in life, you could lack a lot of confidence in this, have all sorts of speech problems, dyslexia, communication difficulties, but later in life, you overcome all of these and gain tremendous success through your spoken or indeed sometimes through your written communication. Very often many successful authors, writers, bloggers, etc. have this Mercury Saturn. You're especially successful dealing with technical subjects and where you are giving direct advice to other people. Your technical skills and your precise communication make you excellent in any area such as science, maths, computer programming, law, technology, even medicine. Mercury Saturn gives you the exact precision to do very well in all of these areas. One thing you will have to take account of is the nervous nature of this Mercury Saturn, especially under affliction and not well placed by sign. If that is the case, you not only lack confidence early in life, but you develop a very nervous nature where you're always overthinking your problems, becoming anxious, even having panic attacks, something which you need to take into account and find something to calm this down. This is why meditation, peaceful, calm environment is very, very important for Mercury Saturn. Now, Mercury rules travel, and together with Saturn, I've seen so many times, people with this Mercury Saturn are not the easiest of travelers. You may have to travel a lot or maybe not so much in your life, depending on other factors, but whenever you do, you're not an easy traveler. It's very rare that a Mercury Saturn person can just pack a bag, throw a few things in and take off the next day, as some people can. Mercury Saturn, everything is planned to the T. You've got to pack the bag precisely, make sure you got all the right things, even for the smallest journey. Everything must be planned. The whole route must be known, timetables planned for. And so when anything goes wrong on your journey, it can send you into a bit of a spin. Now, Mercury rules our friendships, and coming together with Saturn, many karmic friendships are coming back into your life. You have taken birth to renew and to work out karmas with these people. You will feel this strongly. Sometimes you have lifelong friends who are there with you right until your very last days. There is some definite karmic debt between you. Also, because Mercury rules sister in the chart, together with Saturn, there can be loss of sister, separation, or no sister at all. Or there can be a deep connection with a sister, but much responsibility has to be taken in connection with this relationship. Let's look at the sign placements now for Mercury and Saturn. First of all, in the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Mercury and Saturn struggle in these signs to some degree. There's going to be some issues. In Aries, it's particularly difficult because Saturn is obviously not at all happy in this Martian sign of his enemy, and Mercury becomes impulsive and aggressive. So frustration in your communication can happen, and also difficulties in your friendships. There's an equal amount of frustration in Leo, where you can become dogmatic. Be careful not to force your views onto others. Sometimes you may be tempted. You're very confident in your speaking, but you can also have problems with government and authority figures. Mercury and Saturn in Sagittarius gives you spiritual wisdom. You can actually pursue high spiritual study, religious study, higher knowledge, but you may have difficulties in your travel. Sometimes there's disagreements or trust issues with teachers, gurus, mentors, etc. with this placement, but also sometimes a very important guru or guide comes into your life later in life with Mercury Saturn in this sign. Mercury Saturn gets quite a bit of power though in the air signs of Gemini, Libra and Aquarius. In all of these signs, Mercury Saturn can become a very good advisor, someone who gives great advice and help to other people, putting you on many successful career paths. Mercury Saturn in Gemini can give communication problems, speech issues, and all sorts of problems which bug you early in life, but which you overcome with persistence. You can become a good writer, technical person. ICT skills particularly can be enhanced by this placement. Mercury in Libra is a very good placement, especially well placed by sign and not afflicted. It can give enormous business success. You have enormous business acumen. You really understand the marketplace. Financial success is definitely guaranteed because Mercury is in the sign of his friend Venus and Saturn is exalted. Mercury Saturn in Aquarius makes you highly independent but original person. You can be very successful self-employed, particularly counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, etc. You understand human nature totally. Mercury Saturn in the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, very successful for financial success over time. You're not a risk taker normally, not a gambler, but if there's Rahu involved, that could change completely. Generally, though, you build up financial success slowly and very successfully over time. In Taurus, financial management, money management is your forte because you understand finances so well. Giving advice to others financially, legally is definitely good. And you can even work with food successfully with this position. Mercury Saturn in Virgo makes you a complete perfectionist about all the details of life. You're extremely technical, extremely skilled, a great problem solver about all practical matters, even DIY person. You can take things apart and put them back together again, no problem. You can become a little bit super critical though because you see all these minute details, so this can harm relationships sometimes, and also you can even be quite hard on yourself. You need to give yourself a break sometimes and just let things be. Mercury Saturn in Capricorn makes you very ambitious, and you can actually get yourself noticed by your hard work and your ability to work alone and to get the job done. It's a good position also for managing other people, and you like to be in control of many factors of your life. You don't like it when you are under other people's control so much. Mercury Saturn in the water signs is a little bit problematic here because Shani doesn't do well in these signs so much, and Mercury definitely not. So in Cancer, Mercury and Saturn is perhaps the most difficult factor. Your emotions overtake your logic so many times. You have financial difficulties sometimes, not because you're not capable, but because you just get upset and anxious over finances. In all the water signs, but especially Cancer, then feelings can be a bit suppressed. It's hard to express your true feelings to other people, and therefore people find it really hard to get to know the true you. Mercury and Saturn in Scorpio, watch for behind the scenes manipulation. You can get fearful quickly and distrustful of other people. Watch out for that. But you can have business success and be a real wheeler dealer in your finances, even stock market sometimes, if there is benefic aspect. Mercury and Saturn in Pisces, it's the opposite. You're a little bit too trusting. Mercury is debilitated now, so you don't quite suss out people as clearly as you should, and you can get yourself into difficult friendships, difficult relationships that let you down. In Pisces too, a very worrisome and anxious nature can be there. Give yourself time for meditation, contemplation, because Mercury and Saturn in Pisces gives you a deep spiritual wisdom. Next, a house is placed in the Kendra or 1, 4, 7, 10 position. Mercury and Saturn give some quite heavy karmas with communication. It's going to make or break your life on many levels. So it's very important to become expert in making yourself understood. In the first house, Mercury Saturn gives you difficulty communicating your true feelings in relationships, and it can give delayed education also. Mercury Saturn here, though, gives confidence over time. What you lack in your early life, you can definitely make up for later. You're like an older person early in your years, but like a very young and active person in your later life. Delayed education also when it's in the fourth house, but you make up for it definitely slowly later in life. Communication with the mother may be not good so much, and she may have health issues. Later in life, though, you can do very well in all property dealing. In the seventh house, Mercury and Saturn are clashing with each other because Mercury doesn't want commitment and Saturn is very serious about it. So you can find it difficult to make up your mind who is the right person for you. You can have disappointments in relationships earlier on in life, but later in life, you can find a really compatible spouse who is on your wavelength intellectually. Mercury Saturn 10th house takes some people into political work or into actually working for the government. You're a very skilled person, methodical in your job, and you can impress people. But if there is affliction to this Mercury Saturn, you can have instability and sudden loss of job sometimes. Second house Mercury Shani can show a difficult early environment where there is coldness or lack of warmth around you sometimes. Later in life you become very snazzy dealing with your financial situations, building security, but sometimes you can get fearful also. In the house of speech, Mercury Saturn can give speech defects and difficulty in communication. Later in life, you can become a little bit sarcastic or cutting in your speech, only if there is affliction though. Be careful, because people might misunderstand you many times, and this can harm relationships. In the 3, 6, 11, Mercury Saturn can do very well for you, especially if they are in a good sign. So third house, you can get communication skills with time, a very precise writing, speaking skills, which can get you prominence even sometimes. But education still can be slowed a little bit by this position. Great technical skills in the 6th house, and very often medical skills also. You have legal expertise and you deal with your enemies and competitors very adroitly. Sometimes a nervous disposition can affect your health, and particularly skin problems are seen with this position. Mercury Saturn 11th house gets you gains, resources slowly over time through applying yourself consistently to your work. Mercury Saturn here can sometimes give you difficulties with your elder siblings, particularly a sister. In the 5th and the 9th house, Mercury Saturn can show difficulties having children or a delay in childbirth. Sometimes, though, there can be a big gap between the ages of your children. In your own education, both 5th and 9th house can show delays, wrong choice of course, and all sorts of obstacles. But once you find the right course for yourself, you apply yourself consistently with enormous application. In the 9th house, lack of understanding between yourself and your teachers and gurus can be there, and especially with your father. In both the 8th and the 12th house, you're a very deep thinker. You think long and carefully before you make decisions, sometimes too long, and you can tie yourself up in knots, because both the 8th and the 12th house, Dustana houses, can give a high level of worry and anxiety. You can also become a very snazzy business person by this Mercury Saturn 8th house if there is good aspect to this position. Otherwise, there can be sudden reversals in your business. In the 12th house, Mercury Saturn shows you need to manage resources carefully. If it is well placed by sign, you can do that. If not, there can be consistent losses, difficult financial problems. But you have enormous intuition. Listening to your own voice rather than other people helps you make the right decision in life. But it's a worrisome position, and your sleep can be sometimes disturbed. Check out the deeper karmas of Mercury and Saturn by sign up on your screen right now. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to sub below. Goodbye for now, and God bless everyone.